secret keys used to identify the service providers, enter username, password, and the content of the sites. Recently, they have released a fixed OpenSSL, and it should fix the bug. But as long as a vulnerable version of OpenSSL is in server, it may be abused. So next one is Google launches a standalone apps for Google Docs and Google Sheets. Usually we use Google Drive for this, but Google separately created two apps for Google Docs and Google Sheets. The main advantages of these apps is its offline mode, because we can do create, edit, delete anything on the docs and sheets without an internet connection, and everything will be automatically updated to live when the connection is on. So another one is related to Skype, that they have, usually we need a premium account for group video calling. Last month they have decided to make it free for its users for Windows and OS X and Xbox One users. Skype will roll out their new feature to rest of the OSs soon. Right now we can connect up to 10 people in group video calling at a time. Another one is WordPress new release. It's 3.9. It's known as Smith. Lots of changes and features are added to the new WordPress release. Someone is improved visual editing. We can directly copy the text from doc to the editor. No need to styling of that. And another one is editing images easily. We can edit images inside the editor itself. We can cut, create, crop, and rescale, anything on that. For uploading images, we can just drag and drop the images into the editor. And gallery, images have galleries, and media clips have playlist. And also a live widget preview on the admin area. It's a small demo on the video. We can see that. Video.
Hello.
Yes, I know. Editing and publishing is this. You can directly copy the content from the doc file and post it on the editor. So no style changes is needed. It automatically comes to its style in the post itself. This is the gallery preview. the gallery preview we see on the post, and the image editing inside the editor. You can rotate, drag and drop of the images into the post. Playlist for the audio files and video files. This is the live preview of the widgets. We can see inside the admin area itself. And also the header images also. It's another feature, new theme. That's it. So that's it with WordPress. And the last one is the security bug happened to the IE browser last month. It allow malicious remote code execution. It affected almost all IE versions of Microsoft. They released a patch last week only. They released a patch for its all versions, including the XP, because Windows XP is no longer supported by Microsoft. But in their blog, they have mentioned that for this time only, they are creating the patch for XP users on. And that's it. And thank you for your time. I am inviting Deepu to take next session.
Hello. Thank you, Thank you, Vishnu, and good evening, friends. Howdy. So it is the 12th edition of Coffee DBG, and we are just about to give a quick recap on what actually we did so far. Hi Rahul, welcome. So initially, we were just thinking of a technology event in Technopark, that is where we can continuously, that is every month, we can go and interact each other. That sort of event was not happening around here. So I approached different communities here, that shall we start a program like that where people from different companies can gather together on a monthly basis and have programs like that. And at first I went with GTech. I was handling the technology focus session on that, but they didn't agree with me because they were considering it as it is not a place, it is not something that the companies will promote. That is people were thinking it in a negative way, and it is not good to have those type of sessions or those type of interactive sessions happening. That is, we can have seminars, we can conduct seminars or workshop, but it should not be like something like a group meeting over every month. Then I thought that why couldn't we try to do it by ourselves? But the problem is the reach of the event. When I go with some of the organizations, that is, I can get a better reach to more people, on all the companies, and we can get a good audience. But still, we thought that okay, let's start the event, and we named it as Coffee at DBG. And thanks for Nitin and Sajin. There were two people. Actually, they told that okay, they will take the first session, and it was on Apache Solar. We did all the ways of advertisement, and we thought that okay, that is, we will be getting a very good response from the community. And on the first session, actually, we had 3 participants. Okay. So it was a bit disappointed, but I just thought that okay, that's not something that we need to worry about. That is, it is just a part of history. That is, we will just continue doing this at least for 1 year. Whatever happens, that is, it shouldn't be, it shouldn't matter, and we just need to continue do it for 1 year, and let's see that where actually it will stand after 1 year. Then we can decide whether to move forward with that or not. And that is how the first edition of Coffee DBG happened, and Sajin and Nitin were the speakers. And I hope that you know about Apache Solar. It is an open source enterprise search platform. And Nitin, please tell me. Nitin was the speaker. So if you have any questions on Apache Solar, he's an expert. You can ask him. Second one was AngularJS, and speaker was Hanifa. Was Hanifa? Hanifa. So that is, and I think that is, you know, that it is an open source JS framework, and that is maintained by the Google community. And Hanifa right now do a lot of trainings for that. That is last week. Actually, there are 3 infotech solutions. They were asking that if somebody can you come and give us some session on AngularJS? I told them, yeah, we have an expert. And Hanifa went and did a training there. But still, the response was less than 10 people. I think Rahul, Praveen, etc. was there. Actually, I think 6, 7 or 8 people were there, maximum participants. And we were a bit disappointed, but still, that is, we had a hope. And Praveen came forward and told us that I will handle a session next time, next month, and it can be on tooling on modern web app developers. And it was the first person to speak on the event from outside DBG, and it actually added a momentum to the community. That is the Technology Geeks community that we started, and also that is we were able to pull in more audience for the event, and that was really an encouragement for us also. That is why that is so on that event, that is, he actually talked about the lot of things like grant, right, Bower, Yo, etc. Fourth session was on essential testing tools. Then we thought that, okay, that is, whenever we take some session, it should be something that we use or that is related to us. And we have very good developers, but always I found a problem here is like, whenever something is delivered to the QA team, that is finally final output will be good, but developers always think in a way that developing is our part and testing is something related to QA, and we will not test our work. But according to me, a developer with credibility is something like, there should not be any bug in my system or in something that I will. And how to make a developer with credibility. And the most important problem that the developer faces is they will not have the time to test their app or time to test something that they develop, because they will be in a hurry. So we just identified few tools that are for our developers to use, and it was really successful, and we just thought of sharing it with the community. And that is why we had the fourth session on essential testing tools for web developers. Laiju, Srinath, Adarsh, Sudaha, and Raja Rahim were the speakers, and we talked about some Mozilla and Chrome add-ons and some code quality tools, iMacros, and some online testing tools that could support the developers to be delivering better code. And for any questions on that, you can surely talk with Srinath or Sudaha. So this session, this recap is something like, that is, there are a lot of people who consistently attend the event, and there are many people who come for some event and misses out some event. So this recap should help you to understand which all are the sessions that we already handled, and if you have any questions on that, you can talk with the concerned speakers and get clarification on that. So after that, that is, we were actually using SVN, and we plan to move to Git. and we were planning it for a longer period, but we always had some fear, that is whether it will go well, or whether that is what all will be the challenges that we need to face. But finally it took I think over 3 to 4 months time for us to become confident in Git, and completely migrate from SVN to Git. Then we thought that okay, so Git would be something that many other companies also might be struggling, or many other people will be struggling on that, or having lack of confidence in that. So we can have a session on Git. So next session was on Git, where we actually discussed that is our initially we started with the about version control, the basic concepts, and an introduction to Git, and how to, that is, you if you are having SVN in your environment, how to migrate from SVN to Git, and also the workflow. If you have a workflow, current workflow, that is how to integrate Git into your workflow. That was the topic that we discussed on that, and thanks to Srinath for handling that session. And so if you have any questions on Git, you can contact him. And next thing was something that we implemented, continuous integration in the company, and we just thought of sharing the continuous integration and Jenkins with the community, and we had a live demo of Jenkins. Seventh, Coffee DBG was another important milestone for us. It was like Raja who came up with the idea that why couldn't we make this event live than just keeping it internal. And the best practices in secure web development was the event which went live streaming. And for the first time in Coffee DBG, and also first time we get blocked in Google just because of doing live demo of hacking. When it was going live, that is actually we were doing some, I think Renu was there, right? Okay, some SQL injections. That is, there was demos on how to do SQL injection, how to do an XSS attack, and that is, it was showing this video is blocked in Germany. This video is blocked in. I'm not sure how actually they are tracking all those things. And finally, that video got deleted. It didn't save. It is not there. But it was really good that we were able to do a live demo of hacking, and it was fortunate that we didn't get arrested for that issue. So after that, that is, I had attended a lot of events on cloud. So whenever I go for an event, that is always we listen about SaaS, PaaS, and also the Amazon and their pricing patterns, and always the same sort of information. But I had a question like how actually this cloud will look in my machine. That is, can I install cloud in my machine? How does it get architected? So we did some research and identified how actually Amazon does it using Zen, XEN. It is a sort of citrus, and we created a demo here with demo private cloud network here, and demonstrated what actually cloud is, and it is not something different, and what is the that is what resides between operating system and hardware when it is a cloud. That is, and details about hypervisor and things like that. And it was a session led by Srinath. And also we talked about the privacy issues in cloud computing. Then we thought of having a series of events on mobility, because we were concentrating on web development, and we just thought of doing some events on mobility. So we contacted Rahul of Achinat, and thanks Rahul, and he was very supportive, and he was actually an active participant in the previous Coffee DBG. So he told that he will handle the first session, and he coordinated it. And on that event, we discussed about the best practices, all those best practices and life on mobile development life cycles. That is called quality analysis, test automation, packaging and archiving, deployment, usage, and crash analytics, etc. then some build 2, right? Okay. So second of that series was making smart moves on mobility. It was on that is a session on MBUS and important Android and iOS libraries, and another session was there on app monetization. And we had a live demo on MBUS. Next one was operating systems and mobile systems privacy and security. And there was a demo on Firefox OS and Ubuntu Touch, and Raja or Srinath should be able to show you that if you missed that event. And right now, that is as Heartbleed is something that is we had worked on right now that to solve it on all our servers. So we just thought of we can have a session on Heartbleed, and we do not want to extend a longer session. We can have some quick sessions. So this is what we had so far on Coffee DBG, and I'm not sure that is how actually whether it was good or that is whether we need to continue. It is an important event where we have to make a decision on whether we need to continue the Coffee DBG or we have to stop that. So this was the first milestone that was achieved. That is, so Don was the participant who was regular. He never missed any Coffee DBG. First one, yeah, first one you also was not there, right? Okay. So what do you think about that?
Real importance to me. Else I would have stuck with my experience because trust me, was intimidating. Initially without attending the event, but even after the event, I was behind Srinath on clearing my doubts and everything, and finally he kicked me out. Saying that stop asking questions and everything. But now talking about the Git thing. As he said, right, this is one of the best places where, as a developer, where I can network, where I can learn new things, right? Even the tech bites. I think this is the first tech bite which had content that I didn't know for more than 50% of it. So even that was really entertaining. Plus, I am really looking forward to knowing what Heartbleed is. And trust me, Deepu, if you stop coffee at DBG, then I'll love your asking too.
Okay, so as the anniversary edition, that is, I would like to give some vote of thanks to some people who had supported us so far, and also we wanted to honor some people who have been very active in the event. So I would like to welcome Amrita to do the facilitation.
Good evening, everyone. This is Amrita Rakhe here. Since, as Deepu told, that this is a look-back session of Coffee at DBG, so we just want to take it as the opportunity to felicitate some important people. Important people in the sense the people who have contributed a lot in Coffee at DBG to make it successful. So in a row, a first person is Mr. Praveen Vijayan, who is a front-end team lead in Flip Media, who came forward voluntarily to coordinate one of the Coffee at DBG session.
So he was actually an inspiration for me to continue and bring it to this stage. So I would like to ask you what about that.
Okay, it's not planned, so how to say? I'm really happy. The event like this, it must happen in a month because this is the place where we can start discussing new technologies, or we can share our experience like that. So at any cost, don't stop this event. So thank you. We'll continue contributing to this event. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Praveen.
The next person to whom we want to felicitate is Rahul Krishnan P, who is a co-founder and technical director at Atinad Software. Thank you, Rahul. You want to add up?
Hi all. So I have not been a regular at Coffee at DBG due to work pressures most of the time, or I might not be here. But whenever I get a chance, I used to attend this. And right from the start, right from the time I knew Deepu, he wanted a tech community to be there in Technopark, since there are a lot of talent. In fact, Technopark has the largest amount of talent, a lot of diverse companies working into different range of technologies. So it's an ideal place to have something like what we have in US, something like a meetup. But unfortunately, that was not happening. Not sure whether it's a typical Indian mindset where we treat work as work. Is that the reason for it? Not sure about that. But Deepu was persistent. So initially, like he wanted a tech community within GTech. So like I could at least contribute there with a session of mine. So after that, that was not having that momentum, like you said. People were not comfortable unless it was a dull, boring seminar that would take 4 or 5 hours of a person's time. GTech was not coming up with a meetup kind of a setup, and I'm very happy that Deepu did something like this, where it's an informal platform where people can get together, discuss about technologies, and get comfortable. I'm not sure like why the audience haven't grown, because I see a lot of familiar faces, which is good, but I would have expected to see a lot of more new faces uh, here. So this is something like which every one of us will have to take effort to spread the word, to make sure that there are more participants here, and to keep this going as well. Like each of us has to contribute to, because like when people told me that Praveen and me were the only external speakers, and in the last 12, so that's a good number for DBG, but it's a quite disappointing as an what do you call, at least as employee of another company, right? So it's important that all of us have to contribute uh, to make this a successful event. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Rahul. And I think regarding the new faces that is on this session. It was specifically that is we had special invitees for the event, and normally when we opened it, I think almost more than 389 different participants were for the event so far. Okay, so the community also has grown. I think around 890 to 900 people are there in the community.
We all know about Techno Geeks. The Techno Geeks is a community of the technological people, those who are really enthusiastic about technology. So this Techno Geeks have found their MVPs for this year. MVP is Most Valued Professionals. So I would like to announce a first MVP, Mrs. Renu Tushar. Please come forward to receive your token of thanks.
So Renu, that is once she started coming to Coffee DBG, I think that is only last one was the one she missed, and apart from Coffee DBG, that is was conducting different events, and she was a common face in all the events. That's even for technology events as well as the CSR events. Okay, so some person who is really enthusiastic in the community for sharing the knowledge as well as.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I think it was in October, and I first came here, and October 2nd was Wednesday, and that was a holiday for us. So I had apprehensions about coming in, but once I came in and so found that it was such a informal gathering that I made so many friends over here, very familiar faces. and it was such a pleasure coming to here. And every every month, I would really look forward to meeting some of you and having such a wonderful sessions. And in fact, I would also want to appreciate the whole team behind this Coffee at DBG, as well as I will want to wish the very best to keep this endeavor going forward.
Thanks, Renu. So actually, MVP is like that is it is a MVP is something internationally acknowledged like for the most important person. It can be considered as most valued professional. It is known in some places as most valued participant. In NBA, it is known as most valued player. So here in the Technogeeks community, that is we consider Renu as one of the MVPs. Let's give her a good hand.
Our next MVP is Mr. Don Peter, who is the founder of InnoSpring.
Don Peter is much more than that. Actually, that is, he is someone like he never missed any Coffee DBG since he came here, and also that is he attended all the 11 Coffee DBG. I think even no anyone from in DBG has that record. On consistently coming for Coffee DBG, and also not only for Coffee DBG, the programs like in 50 hours.
8 in 50 hours, I suppose. Yeah.
So I would like to.
I already said that.
Okay. You have to tell them how actually you are able to do that. Because everyone will be busy with the work and some other stuff. So how are you able to participate in all those events?
It's simple actually. I have founded a company called InnoSpring. The speciality of the company is that we don't have a product. So it's simple enough. I have no work. I'm just kidding, but still, yeah. I do find I do find time to attend events, like Coffee. I think I'm consistently attending only Coffee DBG and in 50 hours. That's it.
Okay. Thanks, John.
Our next people are from the DBG family itself, the people who have taken the initiative to bring Coffee at DBG into existence. First person is Nitin S, who coordinated our first Coffee at DBG session.
And also for your information, it is not like that is for Coffee DBG. If they are preparing for Coffee DBG, they do not have to do the work. They have to complete the work as per schedule, but in between they are finding the time to prepare and take sessions on Coffee DBG. So I'm really thankful for my guys. And especially for Nitin for initiating the Coffee DBG idea. And
Next is Sajjan TM, Srinath Shashikumar, Sudhar V, Attila Roy, Aromal Shashidharan, Arvind Babu, Adarsh VC, Emil Ilyas, Hanifa, Jean P. Xavier, Reja Rahim, Rahul Raj, Leju Thomas, Vishnu AV, and that's me, Amruta Rakhe. Shisha is not there. Thank you, everyone. We'll continue with our next session.
Okay, so I think that is you are eagerly waiting for Srinath. Hmm? So,
Well, would you like to have a tea break before we start with the Heartbleed, or you want to proceed with the Heartbleed directly? It's your call. Like you want coffee break. We'll meet after 10 minutes after the coffee break. Okay, let's start with a session on Heartbleed. How many of you are aware of Heartbleed? Have you by any chance heard of a word called Heartbleed in the recent times in your blogs, in Facebook, social media, anywhere? Looks like nobody has heard about it. Great. What a technically updated community. All right. Over the past couple of weeks, um, since April 1st to be precise, the internet has been shocked. And when I say shocked, it has actually been shocked by such a catastrophic security bug which was found in an open SSL implementation. That is called as Heartbleed. And this has been something which has been talked about a lot. Lots and lots of blogs have been there. And this has actually been called as one of the most dangerous, most affected security bug in the recent times. So in this session, what we plan to do is we'll give you an idea of what Heartbleed security bug is, how does it become actually a security bug, what are the things you can do to prevent it, and on all those details will be covered as part of this session. Right? Sort of a concise capsule where you get everything about Heartbleed, hopefully. So this is something which was said by a security analyst in Forbes as this is one of the most dangerous vulnerability which was found since internet traffic started in the commercial way. So this actually shows you how serious this could be, the amount of impact this one security bug can have on your web applications. The Tor said, don't use the internet for some time until this gets resolved. If you want complete anonymity, you know about Tor. We have already talked about Tor in one of the previous sessions. If you want anonymity, start using Tor, right? So the Tor project suggests you are no longer anonymous in the internet. As long as this bug is not fixed, don't use the internet if you want anonymity. That is the kind of scale at which Heartbleed has impacted the world. So what is this Heartbleed? Is this a flow of the internet? Some of the frequently asked questions. Is this a flow of the internet protocol? We know that this affects security of the websites. But as we discussed earlier in some of the previous sessions, security could be at different levels. It can be at the server, it can be in the software, the admin panels, on the way where the data goes, on your client side, it could be in the databases, it could be anywhere. There are different levels at which security issues can be possible. So what is this? This is a flow of the internet protocol, the IP layer. Or does this affect the entire internet? We say this is such a massive scale. So what? Shall we not use are all the applications affected completely? Are all TLS implementations affected? First of all, this is not a flow of the internet protocol. Internet protocol is completely okay. This is a flow with a software. One software has a bug which caused this entire problem. So the internet protocol as such is safe. Does this affect the entire internet? No. This doesn't affect the entire internet. So what does this affect? This affects only a certain software, and if that software is used in your web server, then yes, your server is affected. Are all TLS implementations affected? No. Now what is this TLS implementations? We'll come to that in a short while. But the answer is no, all TLS implementations are not affected. If you have more questions on Heartbleed, there's a website called www.heartbleed.com. Let me just take it for you. So this is a website which is dedicated only for Heartbleed. The reason why there are lots and lots of security issues which happens every now and then. But not every now and then do you see websites which are created only for this. Now this was created so that public knows what's happening. What is Heartbleed? The information has to go to the people. This has lots and lots of details in it. So this will probably help you answer all your questions. There are lots of questions in there, Q&As. So this should give you a lot of answers if you have more questions on this. Right. Now, how does this happen? We're going to check a little bit of history. Someone called Robin implemented a heartbeat function in OpenSSL. Now, let me first tell you what is OpenSSL. We all say internet is safe if you use HTTPS as the connection protocol. So you log into your banking application, you log into any application, we say HTTPS is safe. This HTTPS is HTTPS because of something called as TLS. That is what makes the HTTP more secure. But in order to make your HTTP more secure, that is in order to implement the TLS, you need another software. And for that, there are different implementations. An open source version is called as OpenSSL. And because it's open source and free, a lot of companies use this. And that is very good actually, except for this bug. And that has a function called Heartbleed. Don is already laughing because I talked about open source. And that has a function called Heartbeat. Now, what is Heartbeat? We'll come to that later. But that was implemented by someone called as Robin in 2011. But every source code which goes to, before committing it, before merging it, it usually goes through a series of code reviews. As usual, this was code reviewed by someone else, but unfortunately, he missed the flow. Because it's a very minor flow. This is a very, very, very easy and minor flow. But it was missed. And that code was introduced into the actual SSL, OpenSSL module in December 31. That is just before the new year. This was merged into the actual source code. And that was released on March 14th. And since then, it has been widely adopted. Widely in the sense, widely adopted by a lot of companies. Your internet ISP, internet service providers might be having hosting solutions. Your hosting providers, they all use it. And different companies come and buy the HTTPS and they get affected because they don't know about it. The servers already have the malicious, not the malicious, the flawed version of software installed in them, right? And when was it discovered? Someone called as Neil Mehta from Google discovered it on April, very recently. That is, if you remember, this was in 2012 when it was merged. But this such a big issue was noticed only in April 2014. Approximately one and a half years, it was all there. It was lying there as such, right? At the same time, this was discovered by another company called Codno. I don't know how to pronounce it, to be honest. But that company came up with this discovery approximately at the same time. And it is this company who created the website called the Heartbleed.com, which we saw a little while ago. So they created a website so that people know about this, how dangerous this could be. But the problem is, it is assumed that this was already known a long time ago in the hacker world. For example, a scanner called Masscan, it was released 6 months ago. It had a code to exploit different servers. And that exploit was based on something very similar to this. And if you check the server log and terminates a connection, the way handshakes happen and all, how it terminates a session, everything was sort of very similar to how the Heartbleed works. Again, according to Bloomberg News, NSA was already knowing it. So it's all out there in the hacker world. They add it to different rootkits, to tools, and they sell it out. So all you need to do is buy it at a price, run it against a server, and you get all the information. It's being sold. But this wasn't known till very recently. And the fixes, it's true that it was reported on April 1st, but as per some tickets, Google already wrote a patch for it on March 21st. And Cloudflare also released something similar. So chances are there are lots of fixes already out there. So now in the coming slides, we will look at what the bug is and how the fix can be applied to it. Right? Now, how do you detect if your website is having Heartbleed? If it's affected with the Heartbleed problem? There are since this was created, this issue was reported, a lot of people have come up with tools to check for Heartbleeds. So these are some of the tools which you could use. You could use any of this to do a check on your server. So we'll try one of them. It's called this thing, Heartbleed Scanner by the Italian cryptologist Filippo. I don't know what the other name. So this is how it would look like. Let's show it to you. So if you can open the site, it gives you an option where you can enter the website name. So it says that Facebook has been fixed. It's all good as of now, right? So this is one tool which you can use to identify if you are having websites which you host in different places. It might be very good if you can go today, open one of these tools and see if your website is actually having problems. If there is problem, talk to your hosting provider and tell them to fix it, right? Again, it's not just those tools. There are more tools already available. Nessus Scanner, the Nmap, the Snort, Wireshark, TCDump. They all have the modules installed for it. For example, Nessus Scanner, it's added as an extra module. From the recently released version, Nmap also includes it. As for the Snort, it is it is a IDS, intrusion detection system. So SourceFire has released the rules for it. So you need to run rules which will identify if such an attack is already happening to your machine, into your server. So that rule has been added by SourceFire. And Wireshark also now has this feature which you can use. So now let's get into a little bit more of Heartbleed. About Heartbleed, there are, as we said about different XSS injections, SQL injections in the previous sessions, you have to know a lot of stuff for that. In this case, all the privileged information you can get yourself without having to log in, you don't have to do anything at all. You just have to send some packets with some information. It's that easy to do this. So as we talked about OpenSSL. OpenSSL is a software which you use for TLS implementations, and it communicates, it helps in communication for the SSL protocol. Now if you can take a look at this, it shows that this is your Apache server, and this is the green one is your Nginx. So Nginx and Apache are the most affected in this Heartbleed scenario. Microsoft IIS has its own version of SSL that is not, it doesn't use OpenSSL. So Microsoft is sort of safe. When I say sort of safe, even if that is connected to another server farm, and if that farm has another Apache implementation, this could also be affected, right? So Apache owns most of the web, and because of this bug affected millions of websites. That is 17% of the websites were affected. That comes to a very big number. Millions and millions of websites were affected with this. So what is Heartbleed? What is Heartbleed? We talked about Heartbleed. Now Heartbleed is the name given by that company for this bug. The bug was found in an extension of TLS, and that extension is called as Heartbeat. And because that extension has the name Heartbleed, he gave the name Heartbleed, right? So what does this extension do? See, normally when you try to connect your internet, before I send a packet to you, I need to know whether that machine is up and alive. It's working or not. It could be dead. It could be off. It might not be there, right? So in order to know that, there are different ways, and Heartbeat is one such method to know it. What the Heartbeat does is it sends an echo request. Now what an echo request does is, it's a very simple logic. I take some packets. I say, I'm sending you some data. You need to echo back to me the exact same data. So that's all it does. Now once you echo it back, I know that it's working. So that is what, yes, OpenSSL server will do, right? So that is called as a keep alive functionality. So you know that your server is already there, it's alive, it's not dead, it's still up and running, so I can communicate with you. Now once I get that, I start sending the actual data. That is how the normal protocol works. So the advantage of this is you don't have to perform a renegotiation every now and then. It makes it much easier. And it helps you understand whether the other party is still out there, right? So that is called as a heartbeat. So this is how it will work, but the image isn't clear enough. Okay, what? I should have zoomed the image. Okay, one second. It doesn't. One second. a heartbleed issue would work in a very simple terms. Okay. So what we need to know is the server out there still up and running? Only then can I communicate to it, right? So they ask you, okay, are you still there? Which means, are you still on there, or have you dropped off? Okay, and if you're still there, reply potato. So as I said, it's an echo message. So you have to give back that message as such back. So the server understands, okay, Meg, this is Meg. Okay, now Meg wants those 6 letters potato. So it sends back those words, right? So it says potato, because that is what Meg had requested in the earlier request, right? Now, after a while, it's trying to negotiate again, because after a couple of time, it'll try asking you again and again and again. If it's still there, it's still there, it's still there. So this time, Meg asked, "Are you still there? If so, reply bird." So now the server knows, okay, I have to reply back with a message bird, so that the other person knows I'm still up here. Okay. So the server says bird, and then Meg gets it. Okay. Then what Meg says is, okay, in that case, reply back hat. And there is an extra option which you provide called the length. How long should the message be? That's an additional parameter. And it sends 500 letters. So the server takes this and says, okay, I have to give 500 letters back. So instead of replying back with only hat, what the server does is, server replies back lots and lots of stuff. See? So what is the heartbleed bug? The heartbleed bug is very simple. It doesn't check the incoming input bounds. That's it. So the question to you as developers is, how many of you code, when you code, actually validate all your input parameters? If not, that is something you should start implementing seriously. We've discussed this earlier also on all our security related sessions. So what this does is, what this could have been avoided, all this could have been avoided if there was a check in the input which comes into the server, right? So because of this, the server reads extra portion, a lot and lot of extra portion, and that data is sent back. The problem is, it is that data which stores all the private details. It could be your session keys, it could be your permanent certificates, it could be your passwords, it could be anything. All those are provided back to the attacker. So this becomes a very serious issue. So that, in short, is Heartbleed in very simple terms. Back. Right. So this is how the flawed code would look like. So over here, it takes some data. It's this P, when you assign to PL, this P which comes in, this data is from the payload. Okay, the payload which comes in is not validated. So that becomes a problem. Any payload, anything, any data with the user sends to the server, whatever form it may be. We discussed this earlier. It could be in the form of an input string. It could be a user HTTP details. It could be anything. Everything has to be validated, but that didn't happen. So this is the commit. This commit is when the flawed code entered the OpenSSL. I can show you that. Okay, not this one. Yep, this is the commit where it happened. So close the browser. 1 minute. Um, so how is it exploited? See, as we said before, everything boils down to one single line of code, which is this. See, what this does is it's allotting some memory, right? Now, how much memory is this allotting? As much as the payload is. So remember, in earlier case, Meg said 500 letters. So that comes in as such, and it gets allotted to the buffer. So whatever is there, actually this should only go up to 16, 2 bytes. That's 16 bits, right? But because there is no check, it treats the next area in the memory, which is not supposed to be read by this, right? Because there was no bounce check. So what you have to do to exploit this? You take a heartbeat size, make it larger than the expected value, that is larger than 16. 16 is the default which should be sent, and then send it to a server. Because it should be sent to HTTPS, usually it should be in the port 443, because that's where the HTTPS port is. So you send it there, and then you'll receive a response back, and the response will have up to 64 KB of data. So that data will have lots of things in it. Repeat it again and again. So every time you get new data coming in, you get tons and tons of data with you. You don't have to need anything at all. It's just a simple process. There are tools available. One click of a button will do it. There are paid tools. As I said, the mesh scan which we saw earlier, you don't have to do anything at all. This is a very simple exploit, but it is very, very dangerous only because a single integer, a field of length was not validated. Right? So this is how it would look like. So you look at this. When you're trying to access a login page, normally, say for example, a Yahoo login page, every data is sent in HTTPS. Now look at this. This is the data in the hex format, but that you can analyze and see this. What does this say? It says that for the login, see, agnesaduboteng at yahoo.com. That is the username. For that username, the password it's not provided. It's been blacked out. But over here, you get the password. So this data you will get. This is Yahoo. This affected Yahoo, Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, a lot of companies. Now it is not just message. See over here, what are you getting? You're getting a password, right? So one user, you get the password. You do it again, you get lots and lots of such stuff. But it is not just about passwords. Passwords is only a tip of the iceberg. The real jewel is certificates. Certificates of your websites, your web servers. Now what would happen? See, how does your data get encrypted? Every time you need to encrypt the data, you need to have a certificate. And it is with that certificate, you decrypt it back at the other side. So if you have that, because the certificate is only with the web server, only they can decrypt it. And that is why this communication becomes safe, because no one else has that certificate, no one else can get the data from it. However, in this case, when you get the certificate, what is happening? Every data which is sent to your server can now be decrypted because the certificate is now with us, right? That's not enough. That's not it, because this is the sentence. See, the issue happened only in December 2011. But if I have the certificate, I can even read messages in 2009 or 2007 or 2008, even long before it, because certificate might not have been changed. So that becomes even a bigger problem. Right? So every message sent to that server is now affected, and it can be read. So that is a very, very, very big problem. All the past messages can be decrypted. What is the fix? The fix is you're checking the bounds. See? You're putting in checks in there. If it's not there, don't do it. If it's less, allot it into the memory. It's that one check which is enough to fix it. So this was a fix which was released. So what happened is when this was found, a lot of companies actually started doing this. They started fixing OpenSSL by themselves, and then they recompile it again and they do it. That was one option, but now fixes are it's all available. So how do you know if you're already exploited? You have no idea of knowing it. You cannot know. Why? Because your logs might not show anything. Say for example, you're trying to do an XSS injection, or you're trying to do an SQL injection. If you check your access logs, you can see that there are lots of HTTP requests over there. Some strange sort of request. If you're trying to do a directory traversal, if you're trying to do some sort of trying to find out if particular directory is there, denial of service, fuzzing, all those will show up in your logs. But this is not something which might show in your logs, right? So it's difficult. Or you have to specially log it, but this area it's not there. The handshaking protocol, it gets disconnected, those part, logging, it's not there usually. Is it only for websites? No, it's not only for website. This affects everywhere you use OpenSSL. It could be in your emails, it could be in your instant messages, your VPNs, anything where you have OpenSSL implemented, it is affected. So it doesn't mean that you check the URL and see HTTPS there, it might be affected. Even if you don't have HTTPS URL in there, it could be affected because the implementation on the server side might be using a version of the OpenSSL, right? Before this, so something I didn't include. This affected a version called 1.0.1. That is the version of OpenSSL which was affected. All versions are not affected. So versions from 1.0.1 to 1.0.1F are affected. The fix is update it to a next patch. Yes, update it to FG. Yes. So update it to 1.0.1G, and that will help you fix it. That's one way. If not, you can recompile the OpenSSL and disable the heartbeat. So it'll work in another way. Now to disable the heartbeat, there's a switch. There's a small thing you have to give. That's called this DOpenSSL. No heartbeats. So once you do this, you have to recompile it again and then set it up. That's another way to do it. But that doesn't help because past messages already had the other things. Your certificate is also the same now, so that could be a problem. Chances are that certificate is already there with an attacker. So you have to change your certificates. The key which you have, it has to change. And whatever sessions you already have, that has to be expired as well, just to make sure it's safe, right? So that is what you have to do if you're a system administrator. If you're a developer, what you have to do, you have to learn to code securely. Whatever it takes to code safely, you have to learn, study, and do it as a developer. That is what, as a developer, you can do. As a normal user, go change your passwords in all the sites wherever possible, because there's no way of finding out it's already lost or not. So change your password in every place. Go home today, open Gmail, Facebook, Yahoo, Twitter, whatever you have, go change the passwords. So that's pretty much about Heartbleed, what Heartbleed is, the history, how it affects, what is the fix, everything about it. So any more questions on Heartbleed, please feel free to ask. If I know it, I'll answer it. Otherwise, I'll get back to you with the answer. But in a common terms, in a very simple term, the Heartbleed is simple. The server sends a message, it is not validated, it replies back with as much length as the other attacker requested. But that space, because it contains the secret stuff, the stuff which is not supposed to be public, those details, sensitive details, that get back to the attacker. That's it. That is Heartbleed. So now I hope, at least when you came here, you didn't know what Heartbleed was, but at least now you have a very basic understanding of what Heartbleed is. Tomorrow you go somewhere, people talk about Heartbleed, you at least say, all right, yes, Heartbleed, yeah, I know what it is. Right? So I hope it was helpful. Any questions? Thank you so much for this coming here. So please feel free to talk to each other, know each other. You all know this, you don't have to talk about this in every session. So thank you so much. See you next time. Bye.